This is Miguel Crunia. Welcome to Sommelier Talks. Today I'm here in Edinburgh on my way to Royal Terrace, where I'm gonna meet with Stuart Skea. He is one of the leading voices within Edinburgh's wine scene, where he works at Lyla, one Michelin star restaurant. Come and meet him with me.
My name is Stuart James Skea, and I'm head sommelier here at Lyla. Group head sommelier for Lyla, Maison No2 Tipo, a little group of 4 restaurants, but Lyla's the baby of the family. Opened October 23. We won a Michelin star this February. So. It's hard to describe in a nutshell. Say I look for wines with sort of transparency, authenticity and sense of place. For that reason, it's not exclusively, but leans a lot towards the old world, to smaller domains, farming sustainably, low intervention in the vineyard, but clean wines, and value for money. Must sort of over deliver on price, and that's at all price points. We start at £35 on the list here for white and reds, got some nice options. So you never want it to be too elitist or alienating. I know some restaurants, especially at this level, you come in and everything's £80, £100 minimum. We don't want to force people into that. So there's options for every palate and budget. You can expect to get the very best of Scottish produce. Anyone that works in food knows it's one of the great tragedies that we have all this on our doorstep. Things change slowly. If you look at places like Edinburgh, there's the Ruse opened there, it must be about 40 years ago now, and I think they found it hard to get shellfish, because even in Edinburgh it was going abroad all to Spain and France, and it's a real tragedy. So we focus on that. We've got the wonderful dry agers, scallops, langoustines, lobsters, turbot, all those wonderful fish. So it's a gastronomic tour of best shellfish and fish. So really interesting cooking, a lot of Japanese influences and chef Stuart Wilson cooking, and some clean flavours. So I'd say there's nowhere like Lyla in Scotland, for sure. It's been okay. It's 1 or 2 people have had it as they have to market it correctly, that it is fish and shellfish. We've had carte blanche to build the wine list, and we did inherit some nice stock from 212. So the focus is classics and I suppose new classics as well. So lots of good white Burgundy, lots of Riesling, White Loire, and some more fun, interesting things. New Wave Spain and South Africa populate the list. So. Building up a wine program is to taste as widely as possible and to taste with your peer groups. Sometimes as sommeliers we're working on our own, and you can get, I suppose, the equivalent of cellar palate or palate fatigue. You have to remember there is your palate and the guest palate. It's not necessarily the same. For dinner service, we start everyone upstairs in our beautiful bar here. A good selection of whiskies, some nice champagnes by the glass. We've got some grower champagne and then Grand Marque. So some interesting grower champagne, English fizz, up to Krug and Dom Perignon cocktails, of course. 3 little snacks here, then brought downstairs, and that's where the main 10-course menu starts. It varies, but it's about 40% go on pairing. It's gone a little bit up with our award of late. People are coming and trying us out, so we get quite a high proportion on wine pairing. A little bit of bottle sales, so the wine pairing is the main thing. So every day is different. Can't take anything for granted. But I'd say by the glass, you can, I suppose you can judge a restaurant by the glass. We try and put some interesting things on. Again, they're accessible price points, so there's sub £10 all the way up to sort of £40–50 for by the glass. We've basically caravan everything. It's all about the sort of freshness. We're a 10-table restaurant, 26 covers. It's the same any kind of restaurant, but we're perhaps not selling through as quickly as you like. You might be in a bistro, so we always try and make sure the wine's absolutely the perfect condition that it should be. Same for the pairing menu as well. We're looking for wine which shows off the food above and beyond all else. So my take on pairing would be is you're always looking to highlight the dish and the foods. It's absolutely intrinsic that you must try wine with the foods. Sometimes a few different wines, sometimes a lot of different wines, but when chef starts working on a dish, they often give you different elements to try. You can see the direction, so we always consider the sort of the weight of the dish, richness of the sauce. Is it a creamy sauce? We've just changed our first course, which was a very clean dish before. It had a little pickled kohlrabi, had a little apple and cucumber broth. We're now doing a dashi buttermilk sauce. So we're doing a sake, a junmai ginjo, but one that's quite creamy. If it was a white wine, I'd call that a viognier. Could have worked with the wine as well, but you think about the weight and then the weight. You want the pairing to be interesting as well. Sometimes they can do nothing together. They should enhance each other a little bit. They should bring out something in the wine, something in the food. It shouldn't just, you don't want something that clashes, but you want something that lifts each other up, ideally. So it's about the structure of the wine. Always consider the structure of the wine, the acidity, the weight, the mouthfeel, and then some flavour notes as well. Sometimes you can bring out some interesting flavour notes in the dish with the wine. All the time, I work in a lot of places where the chefs can tweak the dish at the last minute, so they've got a little sauce or a puree which is very sweet. So sugar is a big consideration. Sugar can really kill dry wines. Modern cooking, the dishes are so balanced. They've thought about the acidity, the sweetness, the astringency, so the dishes are sort of complete. So there's not always an easy way in. So challenges are things like we changed it again. We had a chawanmushi dish when we opened, so very rich, savoury set custard, dashi stock, smoked sauce, smoked fish with it. And we tried a few different dishes with it, and it needed to actually have something with a little bit of sweetness as well. Otherwise, it just killed the wine, killed any sort of dry wine. We ended up doing a Grand Cru Gewürztraminer with about 18 grams residual sugar, which sounds like a lot, but it worked beautifully with the smoke, the intensity of the dish. It's very important. We do work closely, and sometimes for many years with suppliers. You need the consistency of supply. The dish is going to be on the menu for a long time, so you need to make sure you have even if you can find the perfect wine, there might not always be availability of stock of it. We've just launched a high-end pairing, a sort of wine pairing B, and we work closely with some suppliers to try and find some little parcels of interesting things, which will be, when it's gone, but with the main pairing you need a consistency of supply over a period of time. And I think it's good to take recommendations as well. Sometimes you're struggling when you come up with a dish. There can be challenging pairings, there can be challenging elements, some sweetness or bitterness, and listen to your supplier. You can ask, it's a two-way street. You talk to them, say, I'm thinking of this. Sometimes they'll come back and say, well, why don't you try this? And you have to try them together. And that's sometimes how you discover wine, has been someone's recommendation. We all know what we know and don't know what we don't know. So, of course, like I said before, be open-minded and taste as widely as possible. You need to have an idea of what works. You need to try wine with the food. But yeah, some of the best pairings I've found have been thanks to suppliers who've really pulled one out of the bag. Especially when sometimes wine runs out last minute as well, and there's a frantic phone call on a Friday. That's happened not so often, touch wood. But it's hard to surmise. It's a lot of locals, but a good number of tourists as well come through our doors. So it's a real mixture. A lot of very classical drinkers. The menu lends itself more towards white wine, but I always tell people that, you know, there's not a wine which will see you through this tasting menu beautifully. Some people don't like that answer, but it's just honesty. I think it's best not to lie to people, exaggerate. So drink what you like. It's not going to always be the perfect pairing, but if you love Argentinian Malbec, some Argentinian Malbec on the list. Is it perfect pairing with your cured fish? No, but you know, we have a wine pairing for exactly that reason. And you can have a glass from that, or you can have also have a beautiful glass of Albarino, or whatever you want to do, or beer, or cocktails. So.
Absolutely. If you like it, you like it.
Yeah, you can guide people. Absolutely, I would say, absolutely. In a non-patronising way. I think it's about kind of sharing your joy and your passion about places. Like I said before, we tend to focus more on classical regions, like Mosel Riesling. We'll just put a Wachau Grüne Veltliner on with the pairing. And when you can say to someone, this is the OG, if you like, or if you can introduce someone to a new up-and-coming region, it's trying to be the opposite of a gatekeeper. Wine has image problems, doesn't it? Snobbery and gatekeeping, and I think you need to try and break that down, and the sommelier does do a job. Introduce your discoveries to people, be open and honest and non-condescending, and yeah, I always allude to the staff, to the Feynman method, which is a famous physics professor. You can read his lectures online, but he came up with the sort of phrase, if you can't explain something in terms of 7 or 8 year old would understand it, you don't understand it yourself. So never try and put yourself above the customer with technical language, with jargon. Try and explain it to them. They will understand what you mean if you're explaining it properly. But if you're just hitting them with batonnage and malolactic and élevage and biodynamics,
they will disconnect. They switch off.
It's a shield. It's a very good question. World of wine is constantly changing. Spain's, I think, the most exciting wine country in the world at the moment. A lot of exciting things happening. New wave of single vineyard, fresh, higher elevation Garnachas, rediscovered varieties. Lots of amazing things happening in Rioja and Galicia. Yeah, it's on fire. South Africa as well. Personal area of interest. So. People should jump into this profession because it will give you an opportunity to taste some of the greatest wines on the planet, meet some very interesting people, travel to vineyards and share this enthusiasm with people, with your colleagues, with guests in the restaurant. On your nights off, tastings with friends, gives you a greater understanding for food and wine and the whole package. And I often say to people, it's one of the joys of life is food and wine. You should enhance each other. And then there's a rabbit hole you go down. You find everything's related: capitalism, philosophy, commerce, geography, geology, history, all intersects in wine, so you can go down any kind of rabbit hole you want to go down. So drink as widely as you can, read as many books as you can, watch as many winemakers as you can, and yeah, it's a great career.